what's your favorite meal? My mother-in-law asked warmly on the day she moved in with us. I'd love to cook something special for you. Oh, that's so kind of you, Charlotte, I replied with genuine appreciation. Let me help you. No need, Hannah, just relax, I'll take care of everything. At that moment, I believed living with my mother-in-law would be a wonderful experience. I had no idea how mistaken I was. My name is Hannah. Ever since I was a child, I've had a passion for sketching with crayons and colored pencils. That love for art stayed with me into adulthood. While studying, I took on a part-time job illustrating, which laid the foundation for my current career. Now, I work as a freelance artist, enjoying the freedom to create at my own pace. Aside from my freelance projects, I also produce short comics about modern women's daily lives for a fashion magazine. My editor often praised my work, saying, "Hannah, your illustrations always get an amazing response from our readers." It was through this job that I met my husband, Adrian. At the time, he held a key role at a major publishing company I worked with, and our relationship began as strictly professional. However, as we collaborated more, we discovered we had a lot in common, especially our shared experience of losing our fathers at a young age. Over time, our interactions extended beyond work, and we found ourselves going out for dinners and movies together. One evening, after a meal, Adrian confessed his feelings for me, and we officially began dating. Since I had never been in a relationship before, I initially doubted myself. Really? You actually like me? I'm nothing special, I just happen to be decent at drawing, I remember saying in disbelief. That's not true at all, Adrian reassured me. You're incredibly talented, Hannah, and I admire how you use your gifts. His kind words made my heart flutter, and after dating for several years, we decided to get married. After our wedding, we enjoyed our life as newlyweds. Since we were both approaching our 30s, I started wondering if we should consider starting a family sooner rather than later. Around that time, Adrian brought up an unexpected proposal. "Hannah, there's something I want to talk about," he said one evening. "My mom is thinking about moving in with us. How do you feel about that?" "Oh, really?" I asked, slightly surprised. "Hasn't she always lived on her own?" "Yes," Adrian replied. I was caught off guard too, but she must have her reasons for wanting to move in now. I want to respect her feelings. I hadn't spent much time with Adrian's mother, Charlotte. Apart from our wedding and a few family gatherings, she had always struck me as kind and easygoing, with a warm smile that made me feel comfortable. Since I grew up in a single-parent household after my father passed away when I was little, the idea of having a lively home environment appealed to me. The thought of living under the same roof with Charlotte was exciting. "She's been feeling lonely," Adrian continued. "I used to visit often, but with work keeping me busy, I haven't been able to go as much. That must be hard for her." I sympathized. "If she really wants to live with us, I think it could be nice." "You don't mind?" he asked, relieved. "I'm so glad to hear that." And just like that, Charlotte moved in with us, and our life as a family of 3 began. "Hannah, what's your favorite dish?" Charlotte asked cheerfully on her first evening in our home. "I want to make something just for you." "That's so thoughtful, Charlotte," I said, touched. "I'd love to help you in the kitchen." "Oh, no need for that, dear, you just relax, I've got it covered." At first, everything was smooth. Charlotte took over most of the household chores, and I was grateful for her help, especially when my work kept me busy. But then, one evening, Adrian came home with surprising news. "Hannah," he said hesitantly, "I've been transferred to a different branch in another city." "What? Are you serious?" My heart pounded. We had only just settled into this new living arrangement. What would happen now? Would I leave with Adrian and disrupt my career? Or would I stay behind with Charlotte while he moved? Adrian, sensing my unease, tried to comfort me. "If things get too difficult with my mom, just tell me, we'll figure something out." His words reassured me, and in the end, I decided to stay with Charlotte, believing I could handle it. Looking back, I realize I may have been too optimistic. At first, things remained peaceful, we respected each other's space, and I did my best to contribute. But over time, Charlotte's attitude toward me shifted. She started acting as though I wasn't pulling my weight. One morning, she said, "Hannah, shouldn't you be helping more around the house?" "I'm sorry, I'm really swamped with work right now," I replied, showing her my tablet. "I have an urgent deadline." "Oh, please," she scoffed. "You're just sitting around at home. Drawing on that thing isn't real work." "Actually, it is," I said, trying to keep my tone calm. "My illustrations bring in a steady income, and I contribute to the household expenses." Despite my explanations, she refused to believe me. She dismissed my earnings, insisting I was a freeloader, even though I gave at least $3,000 a month to support our home. She claimed the money must have come from Adrian. "That's from my son, isn't it?" she said dismissively. "You can't seriously be earning that yourself." "No, Charlotte, that's my own income," I insisted. But no matter how much I explained, she refused to acknowledge my work as legitimate. Charlotte had left her job years ago after getting married, and she spent most of her time at home or going out for social events. Despite her relaxed lifestyle, she expected me to handle more and more of the household chores, even at the expense of my job. It reached a point where her constant demands started interfering with my work, causing delays and stress. Then, one afternoon, she called out to me. "Hannah, come to the living room for a moment." Curious, I walked in, tablet in hand, only to find Adrian's brother, Dominic, and his wife, Fiona, waiting. They both looked smug. "Hannah, what are you doing with that tablet?" Dominic sneered. "I'm working," I replied, already wary. Dominic had always been arrogant and dismissive toward me, and we had never gotten along well. "Still wasting time on those silly drawings?" he said mockingly. "It's my job," I said firmly. Fiona, who was just as condescending, added, "We heard from Charlotte that you don't help out or have a real job. Maybe it's time you move out." Dominic smirked. "That's right, we're going to be living here with Mom from now on." They laughed, hurling insults at me, while Charlotte watched with satisfaction. It was painful to be mocked in my own home by people who were supposed to be family. I had urgent work to finish, but they didn't seem to care in the slightest. Disgusted by their behavior, I tried to keep my focus and continue working. Charlotte, however, wasn't having it. She shot me a glare. "Are you seriously ignoring me? It's incredibly rude to keep playing with that tablet," she snapped. "Wait, Charlotte, what are you?" Before I could even finish my sentence, she snatched my tablet from my hands and threw it onto the floor with all her strength. My breath caught in my throat. Why would you do that?" I asked, stunned. Before I could reach for it, Dominic and Fiona stepped forward and, with smug grins, stomped on the fallen device, grinding their heels against it. The screen shattered, cracks spreading across the glass like a spiderweb. When I tried turning it on, nothing happened. I swallowed my anger, pressing the power button again and again, but it was useless. My tablet, the very thing I relied on for work, was completely destroyed. It was in that moment that I finally understood there was no future for me in this house. I immediately called Adrian and told him everything. For a long moment, he was silent, probably trying to process what I'd just said. Then, over and over, he apologized. I didn't blame him personally, but hearing his remorse and unwavering support made my chest tighten. Tears welled up in my eyes. "I don't want to stay here anymore," I admitted. "I want to be with you, wherever you are." Adrian let out a relieved breath. "Then come, we'll figure everything out together." Suddenly, the idea of moving to a more remote area didn't seem so bad. I just wanted to be with my husband, away from the toxicity I'd been enduring. Without hesitation, I began making arrangements to leave. But before I could finish packing, something unexpected happened. Charlotte arrived with Dominic and Fiona in tow, their faces tense. "What are you all doing here?" I asked warily. "I'm busy getting ready to leave." Charlotte hesitated before speaking. "Hannah, we just found out you've been contributing $3,000 a month to the household expenses." Her voice wavered, her expression unreadable. We didn't realize. We're so sorry about the other day." It was the first time she looked anything close to sincere, but I wasn't moved. "I already explained this before," I reminded them, "but it doesn't matter now. I've made up my mind, I'm leaving to be with Adrian." They must have finally understood what my departure meant. Without my contributions, they were about to lose a significant source of income. Charlotte's hands wrung together. "Please, Hannah," she pleaded, "we can still be a happy family, can't we?" Fiona, less subtle, scowled. "If you leave, we'll have to come up with that $3,000 ourselves. That's not fair." Dominic suddenly turned to their mother, fury in his eyes. "Mom, this is your fault. You broke her tablet, then treated her like garbage even though she was the one paying the bills." The room erupted into a heated argument, with the three of them blaming each other. They no longer cared about me, they were just desperate to shift responsibility. I ignored the chaos and continued packing. Then, as if realizing she was losing the battle, Charlotte suddenly changed her approach. "Hannah," she said softly, almost pitifully, Even if you move in with Adrian, would you still send us money? I let out a dry, humorless laugh. Why would I do that? We need it, she insisted, otherwise, we won't be able to manage. For the first time, she looked genuinely afraid of what lay ahead. I crossed my arms. I've already given more than enough. Whatever happens next is on you. Silence stretched between us, but then, in a barely audible voice, Charlotte mumbled, I spent all the money at a nightclub. A stunned hush fell over the room. Dominic's face twisted with rage. Are you serious, Mom? Charlotte sniffled. I've been so lonely since your father passed away. I just wanted to escape for a while. My sympathy for her had long since run dry. That's not my problem, I said firmly. I won't be responsible for your reckless spending. Fiona exhaled sharply, rubbing her temples as if she, too, had finally had enough. Charlotte's shoulders slumped, as if the weight of her actions had just caught up to her. The realization that she wouldn't be getting another cent from me seemed to hit her all at once. Dominic, awkward and clearly regretful, mumbled, maybe we can all start fresh. I shook my head. No, I'm done. And with that, I walked away from them for good. After I moved in with Adrian, life became peaceful, the countryside was quiet, the air fresh, and I could finally focus on my work without constant stress. Not long after settling in, we received wonderful news. We were expecting a baby. It was something we had dreamed of, and now, everything was finally falling into place. Ironically, my last comic, a semi-autobiographical piece, ended up gaining attention. It resonated deeply with many readers, especially women who had experienced similar struggles. Then, one day, I received a call from Charlotte. Oh, Charlotte, I answered, already suspecting what she wanted. What's wrong? Her voice was frantic. Hannah, that comic you published, it's obviously about us. Why would you expose everything like that? I remained calm. People write about what they know, and besides, the truth has a way of coming out eventually. You've ruined everything, she wailed. The whole family found out about the nightclub, and now they're furious. I had to sell my house to pay off debts. I simply sighed. Sounds like a personal problem. That was the last real conversation I had with her. After selling her house, Charlotte had no choice but to move in with Dominic and Fiona, but with money already tight, things only got worse. Eventually, Fiona left Dominic for another man, leaving him miserable. As for Adrian and me, we were thriving. Our baby arrived safely, and my career flourished. Thanks to the success of my comic, I landed new illustration opportunities with another fashion magazine. Looking back, I realized that if it hadn't been for all the chaos with Charlotte, Dominic, and Fiona, I might never have found this fulfilling life. In a strange way, their cruelty had pushed me toward true happiness. Thanks for watching. See you in the next video. Stay tuned.